I guess I know this one isn't coming out for sure first. But anyway,
Wow. All
uh,
right. Video is started. So, this is the third protagonist swap of season two. Don't know what order it's coming out in. Could be first, could be last, probably last, but we'll see how it goes. We will now be taking right in the Ripper, technically, it's Jack, but whatever, into the world of Dante's Inferno.
yes, this is a very interesting situation because in this one, not only is he completely fucking out of place, um, he's also not really um fit to be in like the Crusades setting. So we're just kind of putting him like right where Beatrice dies, because we're gonna have the omniscient narrator basically promise him in order to get back, he has to he has to basically save this Beatrice chick, save her from the plot of this supernatural Lucifer dude. Which of course, Ryan's gonna be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but whatever. Um, or if Ryden doesn't want to cooperate, they could always threaten his wife and child. That always works.
Always works. Always gets them up and ready to go.
Duress is effective, or you could bribe him, I don't know, something. You could tell him, Liz, listen, you're basically upholding justice. A young woman's life is in danger. Sort of. I mean, she's technically already dead, but you can save her from a worse death. Anyway, get your ass in there, and we're gonna spawn him basically at the outside of the Dante's house, and he's gonna follow him down into Inferno as Inferno does open up into the Earth. He's not going to pick up Dante's cross because he has no reason to pick up Dante's cross, since he's just assuming he's going into battle against probably some weird fucking creatures or animals or something like that. And then he ends up in the first limbo section, and then basically meets Virgil, who was under the impression he was going to have to talk to a Cape Crusader, and instead he's going to have to talk to what is basically a fucking cyborg, um, who is a child soldier. Now, here's where, well, like all protagonist swaps, I need to point this out that obviously same stats as the character in this situation, Dante Alighieri, um, but he does not get his intelligence, not really his like physiology, etc., his will, a bunch of other stuff. Why this matters is that Hell or Inferno, Dante's Inferno, has certain properties according to its comic and the game that when you go in there, you basically start having your perception warped and you see things based on the sins that you experience. This is what happens to Dante in the actual game when he gets to various circles of hell. He starts reacting to the actual sins carved into the cross on his chest that is happening to him in real time. He's experiencing a sensation through his senses. This is also what is happening to all the damned souls in hell. And Lucifer also points out that, like, yeah, like, you came down here, this is your hell. And he's like, well, hang on. A bunch of, I've, like, the bishop told us we were absolved. It's like, and you believed him. It's like, yeah, well, what about the other people we fought against that fought for, like, Saladin and whatnot? Why are they not here? It's like, because this isn't their hell, it's your hell.
Okay.
So it's it's kind of catered for the individual, which means what Raiden is going to see is technically very different. Though he'll see some of the same common figures, what he's going to see in the circles is going to be completely different than what Dante saw. And what he's going to be attacked by is what is different than what Dante saw. That's also worth noting a lot of the things that are here can manipulate like your morality and your senses, stuff like that, which Raiden doesn't really have any resistances to a lot of that shit.
How dare you?
So as soon as he gets in, well, go ahead.
How dare you? Raiden's changed his life. He's become a better person. How dare you say he has no resistances to these things?
considering he has a giant moral turmoil about going back to being Jack the Ripper during the game
Oh,
and
their
spends the
convincer.
entire game trying to convince himself he's a tool of justice to make up for the fact that he does butcher people. I feel like Dante's Inferno is actually the worst possible place you could send him to. Actually horrible.
Huh. Wow. We're just gonna assume the worst possible scenario for him. I see how it is.
This is already the worst possible scenario. Being here, this is the worst possible scenario. It cannot get any. Well, actually, no, it can't get worse than this. We've only just reached the surface. Um, so I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think it's well. Can we even say that he fights the people? Well, I mean, he'll probably still fight Lucifer and like various bosses like Cleopatra and Minos. But is he even going to fight Dante's father or Francesco? Because they're only there because of Dante. Wouldn't it make more sense if he fought someone like, I don't know, who's writing, who has died in Raiden's past as a result of his
we would
decisions?
have to put the bosses in because they're the bosses Dante fights. So we're gonna have to say Raiden fights them.
Okay,
I
then
was gonna
fucking
say.
Raiden will just have different hallucinations then.
Listen. If you want to insert like a character skin over them and say Dante's or not Dante, if you want to say Raiden's fighting, I don't know, freaking his dad from MGS2 instead, fine. But he's still fighting
The
the same
Solidus.
boss. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
actually,
yeah,
that
yeah.
would be perfect.
See, look at
Yeah, he
that.
fights Solidus Snake, and then we could just probably do Naked Snake then. But
Don't
I
get
mean,
too
honestly,
cheeky.
well, I'm trying to remember who the first boss. Oh yes, the
It's
first boss
dead.
at Limbo is just like King Mino.
Hang on, hang on. So to be clear, are we not gonna have him fight Death at all? He just the word Death's just gonna
He's
bypass.
not. He's not gonna fight Death because
Damn,
he's not dead.
damn, damn.
Yes.
I see how it is. We're just gonna give Raiden special treatment. I see how it is.
Well, if he was dead, then he would wait for Death, but he's not dead. He's alive, so Death has no reason to come for him.
Wow. All right. So Death doesn't show up.
Maybe when Death, maybe when he does die, Death can come for him.
All right.
What Anyway, he's gonna fight King Minos, and probably will ask him, "Hey, I need to go through. I'm looking for El Beatrice," and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to make it through. Like, actually, wait, no. Before he even gets there, he has to cross the River Akron with Chiron.
Yep.
He could probably do that, though. There is like a he's gonna have to learn how to ride a giant beast. I don't think he has those kind of skills. Because like how Dante did it is that he can specifically like direct it by putting his scythe into the top of his head. Dante or Raiden's just probably gonna kill it because it's a giant fucking beast. It's gonna be his first instinct. So Raiden might get stuck on Karen's boat, potentially. Unless it like ferries itself across. Because if you recall, the main way that you could get through this is that you rip off Karen's head as he carries you across the Acreon, and then you on the back of this beast, and you climb up the sides of the beast until it collapses, and then you jump off the side of this beast when you get to the top of the area, and then break through another set of walls as you're falling, and then you end up on the outsides near Limbo.
As you do.
So yeah, Raiden wouldn't. Well, can Raiden climb up walls?
I think he can run up them at times. I don't think he can necessarily climb up them.
I'm asking if he has any sort of like mag grips or anything that has like magnetism that can stick to walls. Not if he can use his velocity to run up walls.
To my knowledge, no, I don't remember him doing that in the game.
Okay, then Raiden might end up falling through the circles of limbo because there is nothing he can do to climb that wall.
Well, he could
He's
jump really fast.
no, this wall is like it's so large that it's large enough for one of those like beasts to be able to have a full like climbing section, Uncharted style, and that thing's like 30 times your size at least.
Raiden can jump even faster than.
Oh my god,
So then, you think that Raiden just dies at this point? Then wouldn't be able to make it any
he's
further.
probably he's probably gonna fucking die here,
Okay,
and
that is one life
then
gone.
he's
So we're going to say
yeah,
he has
then
climbed it.
we'll say that in a small accident, a bunch of harpies came flying across to attack him, and he saw them as a
As
basically a
missiles.
footstool, and he just footstooled from one to another. These convenient 20 harpies that showed up out of nowhere until he made his way over to the limbo wall, past the climbing section.
As you do.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess he could talk with Virgil about some stuff in the circles, but honestly, like nothing here is going to make any sense to him.
Virgil's
The
going to be like,
Sabinos.
it's a place where all souls go to burn if they're bad or not Christian.
Like all souls from all lands come here, and he's like, "Wait a minute, everybody?" Like, yes, everybody. It's like, "Where's Solidus?
Or Solidus.
Where is he?"
I want to kill him again.
um, I wonder if I can find Sam here.
I want to remember Mangler.
I want
Sam.
to apologize.
I want to apologize to Sam. I'm sure he's in here somewhere. He's probably in whatever circle the violent people ended up in.
Like, oh, that would be violence. Oh,
It's like, listen, just point me in the direction where people fight. I know where he'll be at.
um, he's probably just gonna end up uh, going to Minos directly because you just have to kill a bunch of like random enemies to get there, and they're not anything like too crazy. Um,
All right.
I just had to get that one out. Honestly, there's not too much to talk about. Like most of the demons don't really bring anything to the table. They just kind of swing their fucking swords and don't really have any like crazy side effects. Though there are some that have like hellfire and stuff like that that could probably burn right in pretty effectively. Because I did mention this in one of the protagonist swaps, but like there is magma and like various hot amounts of like superheated surfaces that are in areas where Dante could be burned, but he can traverse them and he's just fine. But there are parts of those climbing sections, specifically in Heresy, I think, where like a portion of the wall will be ignited with hellfire as you're climbing through it. And if you touch the hellfire, you get burned, but not if you jump across the magma. So the magma is not the issue; it's the hellfire on top of the magma. Which, keep in mind, the fact that the hellfire is even riding the magma should make it clear it's a lot harder than the magma is, and it's made of different properties because it's literally clinging to the hellfire and it's still able to retain its form. Or the hellfire is clinging to the magma and it's still able to retain its form energy.
Yes.
So, yeah, any like fire minion is probably gonna fuck up right into something fierce.
So
Um,
any hellfire flame just gets on Raiden and probably melts his like entire body, or at least severely damages his
yes,
systems.
but fortunately, wait. Oh no, I was gonna say fortunately he doesn't have to do that, but right before he gets into the section before he talks to Minos, there's a Hellfire minion that shows up just to give you a tutorial on how to like blow open certain walls. Granted, it's not aggressive, but like you need to do it to break through the wall. So I mean, it's like a door you have to pass by. So I mean, I don't know if that one. Technically, that one's probably just there for progression purposes. It's not really there for like purposes of the actual story.
If it's a forced section to get across, unless you can argue writing get across another way, he has to face it.
He can't really get across another way. So I mean, it's not like it's not harmful to him. Well, actually, no. He can just stab it with a high frequency blade and throw it. Because technically, some of the firemen they are solid for a second before they detonate. And if you can stab them when they're solid, you basically can throw them over there. Um, of course, that's probably the only fireman he's ever going to be able to hit because they can also turn. I think I mentioned this to you before. They can turn into pure hellfire,
I believe you
and
did mention that.
Even Dante cannot interact with them. He has to literally petrify them by cleansing them with the holy powers of the cross. So otherwise, he literally can't even touch them, not even with Death's Scythe. So I think I can definitively say Raiden is not going to be able to hit them in that form. But he'll be able to go to King Minos though. King Minos doesn't really have any major enemies of the side other than like basic minions. The hell minions. Maybe some unbaptized children, which Raiden is going to have no problem killing as he is a child soldier. So, yeah, Minos is not a threat because Minos's whole shtick is just I'm just going to punch the ground and scream at you occasionally when you run out of the room. He's basically like a slightly better God of War boss, but he has none of the cool powers or visuals to actually make you want to be interested in him. He's just mechanically better designed as a boss, but that means nothing to fucking Raiden. Raiden can just run along the walls or, just stab him with any number of his melee weapons.
Don't you kill King Minos by like tearing out his tongue or something?
Yeah, you run it on the wheel behind you. I mean, he really just has to kill him to get past, so he can kill him any way he wishes.
All right.
And you just kill him by stabbing. So yeah, it's he's gonna go past him and then go down the climbing and wall sections. Which I'm just gonna say that Raiden's gonna start picking up speed by jumping off the walls, and we'll start learning how to like climb from location to location. Not to mention he's an experienced like military soldier. He should be able to traverse some of these sections pretty easily, especially with his enhancements.
Oh yeah, I remember how my time in the military just made me into a super epic hell slayer.
Dude, all you have to do is slide down a ladder made of bone. That's not difficult. There's plenty of places where you can hold on to stuff. Um, but then he gets into the beginning of Lust, and this is where Raiden's lives are going to start getting soaked up. So he's going to have to do a little bit of a puzzle with that one, like a minor puzzle. He just like spins arrow around on the ground, which he's going to figure out pretty easily, and we'll just shoot the lust shot back at the lust storm that Cleopatra calls up, um, and that's going to essentially summon the well, the tower is already there. It just causes a break in the lust storm. For anyone who's curious about like Beatrice's role in this right now, Beatrice is not going to have the same role. Um, She's not going to be talking about how Dante abandoned her or anything. Instead, Lucifer is just going to be like talking about, yeah, your Dante's gone, but he sent a murder in his place. He sent a fucking child psycho.
Like all joking aside, I know I'm super evil, but like even I feel a little bad for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been crazy if your husband was unfaithful or something, but he sent a psycho to get you because he was too much of a coward himself.
He's just
Meanwhile,
sitting down like
Dante Alighieri over here just sneezes. while he's in the reboot universe, saving the world from literal Satan. He's like, I feel like someone is bad mouthing me right now.
Better not be somebody who's gonna get the cross later.
Yeah, so Beatrice is not going to have as much of a role here because she doesn't have any knowledge of Raiden really. But Raiden's still gonna he's still gonna see them and he's gonna keep chasing them down circle to circle. It's just when we get past the lust storm, this is where I was gonna say Dante, where Raiden is just gonna start losing lives because he's gonna come into contact with the seductresses of lust and the respective lust storms. Uh,
And
I can tell you right now that the seductresses of lust basically do have various like sort of like auto dodge mechanics. Like they just will instinctively dodge you whenever you swing at them, and they'll just reprisal. It's not really going to be that effective, I think, on Raiden's robot body, but they do also have like, I mean, technically, if I'm not mistaken, parts of Raiden, is Raiden's entire body cybernetic, or are there portions of him that are exposed?
almost the entire body is cybernetic. I think even the like fleshy parts are cybernetic.
What about his eyes, though?
I'm pretty sure his eyes are cybernetic too. I don't think there's any reason to assume his eyes are organic. I could be wrong though.
Hmm. I mean, it's probably not going to matter because I'm pretty sure if demons can hurt Dante, they're going to be able to hurt Raiden because they're in the same position that he is. And I can tell you right now that the lust seductresses, their bodies look the way that it does in Dante's Inferno because they were corrupted by the storms of the lust. It actually corrupted their bodies and also changed them. And I think it also drove them to madness. So just being around the lust storms is going to drive Raiden insane, which that's something that he's in close proximity to. Plus, these things have been corrupted for mad by it, so I'm pretty sure after enough exposure with them, they could argue, get fucked up by them. Even if not, then Cleopatra, who he's going to have to fight, has the ability to cast lust storms. So she's the one that's causing the lust storms around the giant tower. So
So we're gonna say
when he goes to fight her, Cleopatra for sure is going to kill him.
all right, so we're gonna say a second death. We're gonna say that Cleopatra ended up choking while kissing Mark Anthony, and she is now dead.
Yeah, she kissed. She's kissing Mark Anthony.
And Mark
Jumped
Anthony
up to.
tripped into her mouth, and she choked on him and died.
She choked on him, and then he died while she was choking. It was a double knockout. Then
Right.
Raiden wakes up and is just confused, and it was like, whatever.
That was weird.
That was weird. I could have sworn I died there for a moment. Insane. Yeah, choke on that, bitch. And just leaves.
I must have lost myself to some sort of berserker rage. Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah. Keep telling yourself that, right?
And then he's gonna get down into the glutton area, which I might have some weird effect on it, but oh well. Probably be pretty fun. Just some basic traversal. He does have to fight Cerberus at the beginning, though this is arguably one of the worst, probably the worst Cerberus I've ever seen in like
You weren't a fan.
a mythological game.
You
Yeah,
weren't a
like the
fan.
one in God of War is way better than this.
You
The
weren't
one
a.
in DMC is better than this.
You were not a fan of Cerberus' design in Dante's Inferno. I take it.
I'm just saying it doesn't bring a whole lot to the table when it's literally just three fucking mouths. Its special power is eating things. Congratulations, all Cerberuses can eat things. You're not unique.
So Raiden defeats Cerberus, is what you're telling me.
Yes, because it brings nothing to the table.
All right.
He's gonna cut that bitch to death. Um, and if I recall, after you go through gluttony, oh god, when you start going through like a weird trippy puzzle area, which Ryan's gonna figure that out pretty easily. It's just some basic platforming nonsense. Then it gets to show up in greed, which is the fourth circle of hell.
Okay.
Um, couple more puzzle doors. And more puzzle. Well, there's not even really puzzles. They're like the main step puzzles. And then eventually he runs into a room with oh he runs into a platform to fight one of the beast tamers, which is a fallen angel that's running that giant he's basically running the giant like beast thing that Raiden would have rode but doesn't know how to ride.
Okay.
Except this is in a platform that's above like a it's like some hazardous liquid. I don't know if it's like boiling or anything, but like if Dante touches it, it fucking kills him. And the only reason you're able to get out of there is because you're on top of trying to call it Minotaur. It's something else. You can't really ride it though if you're well. I mean, I'm saying that riding would probably not be able to ride it, and riding is the only way that he's going to survive.
So Raiden dies for a
The
third time
Asterian
here.
Beast. Either this or he's gonna have to realize like that's too hazardous. I gotta jump out of that fucking area and then start climbing. But well, actually, no. Raiden can probably just run up the side of one of the walls around the statue to get to the back of the room. Because the only reason you needed this is because you need to be able to traverse this area.
So Raiden can just bypass
Mm,
it then. He can just bypass the whole area, or do you think there might be some
he
trouble
can
around
he
it?
can bypass the part of the area. Well, no, because then there's the giant door at the Wheel of Fortune, and you have to get through that to get to the Alirio boss fight to Dante's father. So I mean, oh wait, well no, that wouldn't even matter anyway because when he gets to that, he has to fight the fallen angels and the seductresses of lust, the better ones that can actually cast a spell on you that makes you become like seduced by a spell of lust. And they say that only the truly chaste can actually break their spell.
I mean,
So
are you suggesting Raiden's not truly chaste, Mangler?
I'm saying he has no such feats of resisting that kind of empathy
All right. So,
manipulation.
so then, do you just want to call Raiden's journey here, or do you want to go a little bit further and claim that since this would be the third death?
We could go a little further hypothetically if we do. Um, I have to make sure he doesn't run into any fiends.
Fabiano, ma.
Also, any fire guardian, Malacandra, firemen, um, fiends,
So what you're telling me
potentially tempests of lust,
is that the
potentially
amount
heretics.
is that there are so many minor demons, or well, I guess let's call them demons in this case. There are so many demons that you fight on a regular in Dante's Inferno that Raiden would most likely just die to half of them because of their like absurd nature.
Well, that and a lot of them just have abilities that would fuck him over. Like the Fiend, for example, literally has an ice-based projectile attack that can freeze you. Now, for some reason, it doesn't actually work on Dante at all, and it doesn't even affect him. It says to break out of it by pressing this, but it doesn't even work on Dante. You didn't even need to mash out of it. It just daggers him backwards. But then the Archdemon has a has a frost like ability that freezes Dante that you actually have to mash out of. So he has a better version of that. And he also has like forms of hellfire. And there's like three different types of enemies that can be turned into hellfire and can't be interacted with unless they get purified with the cross. So yeah, it's a little absurd. No matter where we go, we're gonna find enemies in one location or another. We're just gonna steamroll him, and all he's got is like And if you give him all of the blades of the boss, all he's got is Sam's sword, which is just a slightly better version of his sword. Sundowners, you know, saws, which are trash, I think, forever to swing. Monsoon's little magnetic sticks, which technically are good for taking out aerial enemies, for sure. And Mistral's weapon, which is good for crowd control. Fucking phenomenal in this section. And I guess he's got a bunch of EMP grenades, which aren't going to do shit. And smoke grenades, which also are not going to do shit because the demons that hunt after him spawn into his position. So I have to assume they know where he is and can sense his position. So a smoke grenade's not really going to do anything to you. Um, I mean, the next one is anger. So I think he'll probably be Allegario. I don't think that's very difficult. But if he does run into what's his face, Philgius, I think Philgius's Hellfire is going to keep him alive.
I see.
Because Philgius, when you get into the next section, you know the giant like flame titan thing.
Yes.
When you're on the sections and you're going past the bridge, Philgius is literally in the middle, and he will occasionally just breathe hellfire down the area. So it's not only does he run into this and a bunch of other fallen angels. If Raiden gets hit once with that hellfire, he's toast. He's cooked, barbecued, and crisped. There's nothing he can do.
Oddly specific phrasing, but
Um,
okay.
it gets worse if we go down some of the other, you know, fucking circles. There's more demons that run into. It gets worse when he gets into violence and heresy in some of the other locations.
Yeah.
I don't think he's even going to get to. Well, this is the fifth circle. Honestly, he probably should have died in greed, but yeah, he makes it maybe halfway through Dante's Inferno.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, no, the fact of the matter is we're talking a guy based somewhat in reality versus supernatural beings with absurd abilities that rely on human morality and the like. And again,
Yeah,
and
and
again,
mostly
oh, go on.
yeah, mostly have temperatures and things that can affect stuff like hotter than magma. You have like higher forms of ice manipulation, a bunch of not to mention a ton of the attacks that actually they have are blockable attacks that could just durn you. So like they could probably cut through and portion parts of Raiden's armor. So the
Yes.
one advantage that Raiden's armor has is basically negged by certain needs of the game. Not to mention like morality manipulation, empathetic manipulation, perception manipulation, the fact that Dante's Inferno doesn't just like a place in general just causes these things to happen to you passively just by you being there. It will attack your sins and your morality all the time, 24/7. So like even if Raiden's beating the demon's asses 24/7, he is going to have to deal with psychologically being in this hell all day, every day, attacking the psyche.
As you do.
And as we've seen, even just a bunch of like, I think Sam showing this was a pretty good example. But like Sam, literally, I don't know how Sam did this, how he managed to get right into hear the nanomachines, but just letting him hear the thoughts, just hearing the thoughts of some of the people he's about to kill and their personal regrets was enough to mentally break him down to the point where he was like, I can't fight. It's too dangerous for me to be in combat. And I've kind of lost the will to go for a while.
You know,
That was enough to like break him down.
I just remember that scene. Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember how stupid I felt that scene was.
Yeah. So that broke him down so much, even when he did accept it later on. I imagine how he's going to feel when he's walking into this place where people are screaming bloody murder 24/7 because they're in so much pain and they're wailing and constantly begging for for death or begging for someone to save them. He's going to have to listen to that literally all the time, nonstop. I don't think his sanity is going to hold. Aside from the fact that it just also warps your perception. So yeah, I don't think he's going to make it.
All right.
His guess his blade didn't quite cut it this time around. Sorry, that was a
that
little
was
insensitive.
that is not cool, Mingler. Not cool. But very well then. This will be the end of season 2 for the protagonist swap. At some point, we'll probably have a separate video discussing our thoughts on the scenarios, how it worked out, what things were a little more interesting, stuff of that nature. Maybe just some fun
This is
facts
this
too.
is not this is not the entire season two. He worded that weirdly. This is just this first set of season two.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
We have our things planned.
Don't want to give the people the wrong idea.
You're right. You're right. A 3 episode season 2 would be absurd, especially when season 1 had like
18.
no, it didn't.
It did.
It can't have 18. There's only 5 DMC games, and there's 3
How
Bayonetta.
many God of War games?
No fucking way.
How many God of War games?
No fucking way. Hang on a minute. Shit, are there really like 8 God of War games?
Well, there's 5 mainline God of War games. Technically 3. Plus Chains of Olympus, Ghosts of Sparta, and Ascension. So there's 8. Plus 5 Devil May Cry games is 13. Plus 3 Bayonetta games is 16. But then I think there's also the Protagonist Swap summary video we did. And then I think there was like a short separate video thing going over
Kyle's version
something
of the
about
Protagonist
Kratos.
swap.
Yeah, Kyle's version of Protagonist Swap, yes.
Wow, okay. That's a lot more than I expected. But anyway, that'll be the end of this video. Thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys on the next streamer video. Take care, everybody.